Hi everyone, Grey Power 60 here. A couple of things I wanted to talk about today. It's really, I don't know how many of you have the same problem, but when I want to mass make something, I get bogged down with wanting to decorate right away. And sometimes that's my downfall, because I'll make one or two things, then I'll say, okay, I want to decorate it. How am I going to do it? Well, I got this, and then, oh, I just dropped the rest of it here. And then maybe I might want this photo in here, and then I cut it out, and I, go around it, and I distress it, and then I'm going, and then I end up trying to finish one thing, one little thing. And that, I think, is, I don't know if it's, me trying to have it all done and ready right away, or whether I have the ability to be able to just leave it alone and not decorate it. So today, now, in saying all of that, today what was happening is I was watching something on video, and I was going, that's really great. But then she went the next step and started decorating, and I'm going, but what if I don't want that in that particular place, or decorated that way, or whatever? So let me go back. Let me go back to the beginning. I hope this is the way I did this. I hope this is right. Okay, so in saying all of that, let's get back to these envelopes. Now, I have tons of these envelopes, tons, and I don't know if I'm ever going to use them. So I got an idea to make pockets for journals out of them, and I wanted to do it one step at a time. So the first thing, they are very flimsy, right? These are very flimsy, cheap white envelopes. They're number 8s. They're, 3 5/8 by 6.5, something like that. And maybe I want to use these in a journal, because they're a nice size. They're not too big. I don't have a journal handy. I've only got my folio here that I keep my, flowers in. But supposing my journal was this size, this would fit perfectly in there. So I'll take one that I've already kind of decorated. So I could glue that in here, decorate it, because maybe I would want blues and flowers and stuff, or something, because it depends on what it's about, if it was my postcard, my kind of angel journal, I think, what do I call it? Yeah, maybe I'll want, some kind of vintage angel on there. And then I could use this after I glue it down here. There it is. I could use it as a pocket. But I get so bogged down with wanting to decorate. Okay, so I'd glue one down. I'd make one that I'd get a piece of card stuck on there, and then I'll go, okay, I'll cut, and I'll say, well, maybe this one. You don't have to cut them. You can leave them until you're ready to decide. Do you want a tuck pocket like this one? Sorry, let me get that. Maybe you'll want a top tuck pocket. I'm going to look and see if I have some, that one might fit. Yeah, I might have some tags that I may want to put in there this way, or I may want to have a pocket this way. So do I want to cut it right away, or do I want to just have a few ready and then be able to pick a pattern from it, whatever paper you're putting on it, and then decide, oh, okay, that's what I want. So that's where I get bogged down, because then I'm going, okay, well, I've got that. Now maybe I could put this on here and maybe glue that on there. you know, and that might be in a vintage, you know, I may want to have taken on my distress ink here, you know, and maybe also distress all the way around it to match what I'm putting on it, right? And this is where I get bogged down with mass making some things, anything. Right now, today, I'm going to be talking about our envelopes, but any mass making of stuff, you know, sometimes I want to finish the whole thing because I think I should or because I want to. And then I end up, you know, making an absolute mess of everything. And I get discouraged. I get very, very discouraged that, oh God, you know, maybe that's not what I wanted to do, right? So, or maybe I'm going, oh, look at, I don't have purple flowers, or then I'll start searching going, well, you know, what can I put on this to make it, and then I get bogged down with decorating. So I guess what I'm saying is that what I need to learn to do, I'm going to do a couple here, put the rest away. I mean, like I said, I have so many. I mean, you may have all kinds of different envelopes, but today I wanted to use up some of these white envelopes. I mean, I have double this. I've got this in another package as well. And I thought, how can I, you know, get them mass made? Now, you can use water too, because it's got glue, already there, you know, and you don't want to lick it. You don't know where it's going to go. So, what I'm doing is just taking some glue. Now, I've watered down, I had to water down my Eileen's tacky glue because I think it was getting old, and I think I have to be careful here because sometimes when I glue things down, when I glue things down, I have a bad habit of putting too much glue, so then when I go to use it, it's stuck inside. But these are very flimsy. So what I need to do is get some let me see, I don't know, we'll grab this one. We'll get some paper stock, whatever you have. Let me see if I got another one handy here. And you may want to just cover it. Now, this one's very, very thin, so that's thin, but this is nice and thick, and it's one-sided. So, I think the first thing to do is not now, okay, I just glued one. Now, all of a sudden, I want to put the paper on it. Well, that's not mass making. I mean, maybe it is if you're organized, but let's glue some, you know, stop and think, and let's just glue down some envelopes or whatever it is that you're mass making, and just glue them down and put it aside. Do the next one. I'm going to do quite a few of these today, but just to kind of show you. Now, if this, for some reason, the glue seeps in, you can always wipe it off here. Okay, so I've got two done. Let's get another one done. Oops. That one I must have glued earlier. And it doesn't matter if it's ripped a little bit, because you know what? It's going to be covered. It's going to be covered, so it's no big deal. And if it was moist, because the envelopes already have glue on it, you know, it may stick to another one like it just did, because I had them both open. So we're going to make sure those are all wiped down. And then that's all you have to do, you know. You don't even have to go any further than this. If you're mask making, just get them all ready and put them aside for when you're ready to put the paper on it, when you're ready to do more decorating. I have this bad habit of wanting to go from, you know, mass making to actual individual making, which is really, you know, it's bringing me down, or it's slowing me down, or it's, you know, and then I end up getting discouraged and I put it away. So let's do a couple more just for fun. But these are great for making pockets, which is basically what I am, you know, trying to do here, is use up some of these envelopes to make pockets for journals. And like I said, it's a nice size, depending on the size of your journal. It's not too big, you know. I mean, I have a lot of large envelopes. I wonder if I have them here, or did I put them away? I got a couple here. I mean, these are huge, huge, huge envelopes, and I don't think I'm ever going to have a journal that big. Or maybe I will. I don't know. But there's no point in me making, mask making with these envelopes, making a whole bunch of pockets, when I don't even know if I'm going to have a journal big enough to use that in. And the other thing is that I want to use up some of these envelopes for something other than mailing, and or waiting till I have a journal to, you know, to get them ready for. So it's just an idea of what you can do with these envelopes. So basically, I'm going around about it the wrong way, but I'm just kind of, I guess, sharing the fact that I do get bogged down, because I'll do one, like I said, I'll do one, and then all of a sudden I'll put the paper on it, and then I'll go, well, okay, how am I going to decorate it? Well, I don't need to worry about this right now. I don't need to worry about decorating it right now. All I need to do, if I'm mask making, is just find some paper scraps that you're not, you know, that you're not using, and, you know, you can measure it once and figure out how, you know, how big you want it. I think this one is 3.5. Because the envelope is a little bit more, I can go with 3.5 by 6.25. So I can get out my, with this particular paper. And then if it's directional, if there's any particular direction you want it to go, right? So it's going to be about 3.25. So let me put 3.25 on here. Oh, that's not going to be right. This has got to be, I'm sorry guys, I'm just brain dead. 3.25 goes way over here. Here we go. There's 3.25. I'm gonna do a couple. I don't know how big that one is. A little bit less. Oh, I've got powder on here. I was doing some essential oil powdering a little while ago. Okay, so now I need to have it. What size did I say I wanted it? 6.25. Let's go with 6.25. Now this little piece, you can use that on another project somewhere. 6.25. And I'm just doing all three of these at 6.25. And these can be used, I can even put my labels on these, you know, right? So once they're all glued and I've got them sitting in a box somewhere and they're all glued and ready to go, if I want to do that, or I can continue by gluing on some cardstock. And the reason I like to leave quite a bit, because I don't know, once I've put that on here, I don't know if I'm going to cut it on this side to make a side pocket, or on this side to make a side pocket, or at the top to make a top loading pocket. But these are great for that. And you can also, if these are really flimsy, you can also put some cardstock on the back, but or some kind of scrap papers that you have. I won't, because chances are this is going to be glued down, right? So it's only the front that I worried about. And what I like to do is put it on the side with where the envelope is glued. You don't have to. You can put it on this side very easily, and this will just be glued down. I just like to reinforce it on this side. So now I'm just going to take this. Now that I've got them all ready, I'm going to just take them this way. Now, again, I use my finger, because this comes out so thick, I really would like to have a, one of those metal pointy things, you know what I mean? So that it comes out not quite so thick, so that I don't have to use my finger. I got a wet cloth beside me. So I don't have to use my wet fingers to do the sides. So there we go. I'm going to take this bone folder because it's nice and big, and I'm just going to rub it down and make sure that there's no glue along the edges or all over my fingers. And there, and now that can be sitting in my stash ready to be decorated and cut depending on where I want my pocket to go. And the reason that I got to stop here and not decorate is because I don't know what journal it's going to go in. I don't know if it's going to be a shabby chic. Maybe I'll want something really odd on it. Maybe I'll want something pretty on it. I don't know. So we'll put that one aside, and we'll grab this one, and maybe I'll do another one, because maybe I'll want, this one is the bigger one. Maybe I'll want a couple. And it's a good way to use up your scraps, right? I mean, that's the whole idea here, is to use up things that are sitting in your stash, like my envelopes. Like, I got so many envelopes. What else am I going to do with it? So for today only, I'll think of some other things that I can do with it. But for today, I'm just going to use some envelopes for possible pockets in the future. Now, because I have so many of these envelopes, you know, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna have to wipe this here. It doesn't matter what cardstock you're going to use, because you don't know. I mean, you may cover up the whole thing, right? It's just like collaging. You may collage this page and just have this as the background. But at least they're prepared. Now, these two that I was using as demonstration, I did cut. I cut the top on this one, and I also cut the side on this one just to show you. But these ones I'm not going to cut. I'm just going to stack them up and get them ready so that I can flip through them and say, oh, I really need pink ones, or I really need, you know, whatever. Yeah. Now, I've got some of this paper, but I think it's way too thin. I really need to have some heavier stock paper. Now, here's one that is just a piece of scrapbook paper. And this is nice and thick, and it's double-sided, and I might be able to get 2 out of this one, which would be really good, right? We'll take off this border. Take off the border here if I can. Get it lined up. I'm having one of those days, really. I'm just gonna cut that off. I'm having one of those days, I really am. Did I say that was big enough? Yeah, it's a little bit, it's 6 rather than 6.5, but who cares? Let's just put it on, but we know it's 3 1/4 because we've already measured, right? So we're gonna do 3 1/4 and 3 1/4. And again, this can be used for scraps later. Oh, the other thing I should have mentioned was having it directional, whatever, you know, if you're doing both sides. So this one, it was directional. Thank God I cut it the right way. So now I can put this one on here just to build up my, you know, my stash of envelopes already pre-made that can be used for pockets. So if I'm looking for something for a pocket, you know, again, I'm using my fingers to make sure I go to all the edges. Some glues are really like Tombow. Some of the glues are really, oh, they stick to me like glue. Now this one I can, it's going to be a little bit off, but I don't know whether I'm going to be cutting the top or the bottom. Not the top or the bottom, the top or the side. You know, I may be cutting it here, I may be cutting it there, and then once I decorate it, I will know better. But for now, all I'm doing is just preparing them. Yeah, and that's where I gotta stop, because otherwise I'm gonna go, oh, I could put that on here, and add this, and stick this under here, and oh my God. And then I get bogged down. So I don't know about you guys, but that's me. That's just what happens to me. So let's do one more, and I'll use the opposite side here. And all I'm doing is using scrap pieces of, you know, scrapbook paper that I have in a big bin beside me under my table, which is pathetic because it is absolutely huge. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to have a big family moving in. Well, big family, you know. My son, his wife, and the 2 kids are moving into my very small apartment, my 2-bedroom apartment. And I'm going to have to start using up my stash. And I think I'm going to do that in case it's a top loading. Because as I said, if you have really cool tags, you can put in these pockets, right? Let me grab this again. Just going around it. So I've got what? 3 left? 3 left. All right, let's see what else I can find under here that I can use. I don't want to use anything. I want to use some old stuff that I may or may not even like. All right, here's one. And this is directional. I don't know if you can tell. It's called Paper Dolls, and it's Sweetness, and they're all paper dolls on this side. And on this side it's kind of blotches of flowers on either side. So I know that because it's directional, I know that it has to be 6 1/4 tall. So I'm just going to try and make room in my tiny space here. All right. So I know it's going to be 6 1/4 tall for these envelopes. Your envelopes may be a different size. So we'll put that one back in the scrap pile. And now I know, funny coloring on the sides of this. And I know that it is 3 1/4 wide, right? Now, that was 3 1/2. You don't have to use my measurements. You can use your own, because who knows? Your envelopes might be a different size. Or you may have a stack of other kinds of envelopes that you might want to just... Again, this is a scrap piece that I can save for another day. All right. So I've got, what, 3 left? 3 left here. And I've got 3 of these left. So I'm going to use one with the paper dolls on one side. And yeah, I just, for some reason, you know, I'll see something and I go, oh, I could decorate it with it. And then, you know, I get sidetracked like squirrel, you know. I have that bad habit. And no matter what I try and make, no matter what, and this also doesn't have to be perfect. The other thing you can do, if it's a particular pattern or like vintage paper that you're using, you could also, before you glue it down, like this one is rather vintage looking, I could easily just do this all the way around and have it, and then glue it down. But because my envelopes are white, I may wait and do it this way. And that way, well, you could have it double, but it will, you know, it will cover both if you just do it this way. So it's entirely up to you if you want to. I just think this stops me. It bogs me down again. So that's another thing. You know, I'll go, oh, I could do that. Well, why bother? And of course, it's still wet. Alrighty. Oh, here's the other one. Now I'm going to use this one because I never know when I might want green and red or green and pink or whatever color that is. Again, finger. It's because I want to get the edges down, and I don't know if I'm going to squish it and it won't do all the edges. So I use my fingers. And I can also flatten these down if I want to, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. And again, because I don't know if I'm going to have my opening on the top on this side or on this side, right? So, yeah. So I won't bother doing that last one for now because it's getting on. So now I've got these all prepared. And when I put them in the box of my supplies, I can flip through them and find, you know, the right one to match whatever, you know, whatever journal I'm using or whatever I want to decorate it with. You know, I may even take this and I may even go around it in pink, you know, if you happen to have distress ink that's pink. But even if you don't, if you have inks, you can also, you know, use different colors. I could use the dark green, the pinks, you know, the turquoise, whatever. You know, you're not limited to just vintage looking, right? That's my impression anyway. So now I've got a stack of these, and they will go in a box where I keep my tags that are pre-made, which are not in the box yet, because remember, I just made it. Well, to you it's a while ago, but I made it just the other day. So I'll be able to use my divider and divide these up and have them, so I'll have envelopes ready for pockets, so I could call them pocket envelopes, and tags and cards. Yeah, you know all that stuff. Anyway, so just to say, the video was basically just to cover the whole. I have a lot of these, and these are a great size, I think, to make pockets. You just seal it up, put a little cardstock, whatever kind you have, on top to reinforce it, and then, but don't cut it until you're ready to put it into your journal, whatever way it may be. It may be this way, you may be cutting it here, or maybe even at the bottom and have something, if it's up high, have it something come out the bottom. Yeah, you just never know what you're going to use them for. Anyway, that's my whining and complaining for today. Sorry about that, but it's just, I get bogged down. Now I can't find the top to this thing. Lovely. I get bogged down with that. Here we go. You guys saw it probably, right? I get bogged down with making one thing. You know, I'll seal the envelope. Now, I should take a bunch of envelopes, seal them all, put them in a pile. Then, because I know that once you figure out the size of the envelope, you can grab some scrap papers, wherever they are, and just cut them to the size that you want to put on, and just make a bunch of those sizes. Just do that instead of gluing it down, covering it, and then going, oh, okay, how can I decorate that? What, you know? And then I get bogged down, and I've only made one. That's not mass making, right? That's my dilemma. I don't know how many. Maybe you can let me know in the comments below if you're anything like me, but oh my God, I hope not. Yeah. When I mass make things, I tend to do the first one. I've watched somebody do something, and I'll go, oh, I'm going to try that. And I'll make one, and then I'll stop, and I'll go, oh, what paper am I going to use? Oh my God. Now, well, how am I going to decorate it? And that's not the purpose. The purpose is to just get them ready for when you do need it. Then you can decorate it to the page that you want it, right? Yeah, that's my dilemma. But if that's not yours, oh, I'm so proud of you. Anyway, guys, that's it for me for today. I just wanted to share what you can do with these flimsy mailing envelopes. I think they're number 8s, I think is what they're called. And they are 3.5 by 6.5, which is why I cut this down to 3.25 by 6.25 to give me that border, so that I as soon as I put it in the center, I can wait, take it out, and say, okay, I want it slit down this way, or I want it to open up this way, or I want it top loading, bottom loading, whatever. That's it for me. Thanks for joining me. Thank you for being patient with this very long video, just talking about mask making and how I get bogged down, and wondering if you also get bogged down with my silliness of trying to decorate, trying to finish something that doesn't need to be finished. That's what mask making is, and that's what building your stash is all about. Building your stash doesn't mean you have to have it completely finished, right? Anyway, guys, that's it for me for today. Thanks for joining me, and for your patience, and for listening to me whining and complaining about, yeah. So they're just things I have to learn to do. And yeah. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.